my notes, my whole computer deal has just crashed on me. So I'm going to just ask that you just help me pray, and we're going to kind of go forward from this. So just hold on one more second. I'm going to attempt one more time to get it started. If not, then we're just going to know that whatever you hear this morning is really what God wants you to hear. Amen. So just wait with me for a second. Let me ask you this question. Why don't you put up the first verse for me? We're going to start off this whole new series with this idea. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. It simply says, Jesus giving us this invitation, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. It's Jesus' invitation to us. Praise God. All of a sudden this thing started to work again. Have you ever your pastor was having a moment of prayerful time right there, by the way. Have you ever had that moment to where you just felt like your life was kind of suffocating? You know what I'm talking about? You just kind of feel like you're underneath water. You just kind of situation where you just don't know. You just need a breath. Maybe you've even said that. I need a breath of fresh air. I just need to be able to breathe again. Something hasn't gone right for a while, whatever. So right now, I want you to think about this promise. I want you to think about this promise, and then I want you to do this with me. In fact, that's going to be something we're going to do the whole service. Every time you see me do like this, I want you to do like that. So hopefully everybody's breath is okay. We're gonna breathe in and breathe out. Is that good? That feel good? That's great. No, it feels great. I think we need to do that more often. It feels great. All right. I hope that you breathed in some good fresh air. Because I just emptied out the back of my car, and I just want to kind of show us what our lives more look like. And some of you guys that can't see, I just dumped out a big bag of garbage on the stage up here. Now, for you OCD people, I've just ruined your day. In fact, you're just like grabbing the end of your chair, just wanting to come up here and clean that up, aren't you? You just be honest. For others that are like me, you're looking up here and saying, "What? What? I don't get it. What's the big deal?" You know, in fact, you're used to having to step over things and move around things. In fact, if you don't know which one of those type of people you are, well, just go and look in the back seat of your car, and that will tell you who you are. Some people are used to living life like this. Other people are used to living life to where you walk in there and everything seems like it has its right place. You've heard a saying, every place has a thing and everything belongs in a place. You've heard that before? Well, some of us just don't live like that. We live kind of more on the edge about things. And the situation is that life it kind of is like this. I understand the difference in personalities. And it's okay for the back of your car to look like this. It's okay for you to, anybody have a junk drawer? You know what I'm talking about? Anybody have a junk room? You know what I'm talking about? It moved past the drawer, it's the whole junk room. You know, anybody have the whole house is junk except for one room maybe? I don't know. But it's okay for your room or your car or your drawers to look like this. The problem is it's not okay for your soul to look like this. It's not okay for your soul to be so jam full of stuff that you can't, do it with me, breathe. You can't breathe. You can't come up for air. And it's the thing is that we're the most blessed generation that's ever lived on this face of this planet. Statistics tell us that. We have more stuff than we know what to do with. Just look, drive down the road. What do you see popping up all over on the side of the roads? It's brand new, constantly new storage buildings, right? And because we just need more room. We need more room to put our stuff. But we're also the most stressed. Statistics tell us we're the most stressed, heavily medicated generation that's ever lived. Why is that? It's because you and I, we need to, do it with me, have fresh air. We need fresh air. And for the sake of argument in this whole series, we're going to define what that fresh air means. So let me just tell you, fresh air, what I believe what fresh air means is a space. It's the space. The space that we can live in between our current life and the limits that we have. It's space. It's creating space in your finances, in your relationships, in your schedule. It's creating space to live so that you can breathe, so that you can breathe. And see, what I want you to grab hold of is that every one of us, we all have limits. We all have limits. Some of us have more limits than others. You know, some of you are like, that's just too big of a mess. Some of you guys are like me, this is not a mess. Just wait, give me a few days. I'll show you what a mess is, right? So every one of us has limits, but the thing is that we got to grab hold of is that something or someone will determine the limits that we live by. And for most of us, we're living way beyond what the limit should be. We're living way past what the limit should be in our lives, and we're suffocating ourselves. We can't come up for air. In fact, we're struggling. And what we're going to grab hold of is, this truth is, that's what happens when you got stuff everywhere. Everybody do this. Okay, back on track. What we're going to discover is in this whole series is that this fresh air issue is really a faith issue. It's really a faith issue. See, God has a way of living that will allow you to breathe. God has a plan, a way of living that will give you the space that you need to have fresh air. And the problem is when we don't have fresh air, you have things that pop and go drive you nuts. When you don't have fresh air in your finances, when you don't have fresh air in your relationships, when you don't have fresh air in your schedule, your workplace, your stress levels go up, don't they? Your stress levels go up. Your focus goes down. You're not able to focus on the right things anymore. People tell you, you're like, well, I should put God first, but I got to take care of this, or I got to take care. I know I should do that. I know I should focus on my family more, but I can't right now, preacher. So your focus goes down. And then ultimately, the most important thing that we have in our lives is relationships. The relationships suffer, don't they? How many of you guys realize we take for granted the things that we should value the most, don't we? And the people that we love the most, we tend to hurt the most because we say, well, they can just be okay with it. This is a season. The kids can be okay. The wife can be okay. The husband can be okay. I got to take care of this. Isn't that true? Things suffer. So why is it? We know that. We know that that happens. So why do we live life so full of junk, so out of bounds? Why are we okay with that? Well, some of us would say, well, preacher, it's a bad season in my life right now. This is a bad season, and once I get through this, how many of us heard that or said that? Once I get through this, things are going to change. Well, can I just be honest with you? How many times did that just keep repeating itself, right? Bad season leads into another bad season. Well, it's just a bad season. I can understand that. Well, preacher, right now it's just a bad work environment, and my boss is just on me right now. He's making me pull doubles right now, and I understand that. There's certain situations. And some of us would even be honest enough in here this morning and say, well, honestly, if I can be honest, I lack discipline. I don't have the discipline that I know I should. And I would be like, you're right. I'm right. I know I need more discipline in my life. But what I believe, when I'm going to show you what Jesus tells us here in a few minutes, is it's something even deeper than that. It's something that has to deal with the heart. The reason that we lack fresh air that we really need in our lives is because of this. Fear. Fear. In fact, if we were to have this conversation around coffee, as I was able to sit down with you and we're just kind of share a cup of coffee and talk about your life and how things are popping when they shouldn't pop, and how computers crash when they shouldn't crash, or how work is just pulling on you and money is pulling on you, all these situations. And I was to start telling you Bible principles, godly principles of how to do your finances, how to do your relationships, how to set your schedule right, how to do all that. You would nod with me. You would agree that that's good ideas. But then you would push back. You would probably say something like this back to me. You would start to push back by saying, but if I do that, I am afraid of what? If if I tell my boss I can't come in any extra this week, I'm afraid I might lose my job. If I tell the person that I've agreed to do all these things in the community with that I can't do that anymore, I'm afraid that they won't like me anymore. If I tell that person that I'm in a relationship with that I can't cross those sexual boundaries with them, I'm afraid. Isn't that true? It's fear. It's fear. We're dealing with fear here. And you know what the thing is? I don't even think we're aware that we're dealing with it. I don't even think that that's really what's driving us. That the real issue that our lives look like this is because of fear. Because if we were to be honest with ourselves, we all know probably what we should start doing in our lives. It's just the thing that keeps us from actually doing it is fear. And we start suffocating ourselves, and we never have. Do this with me. Fresh air. What's the fear of? What's the fear of missing out? Well, if I don't sign up my kid for those 15 sports programs or this extracurricular activity, if they're not involved in every little situation, I'm afraid that they will miss out. Fearing of looking bad. You know, if I don't buy or go on this vacation, or if I don't have this type of vehicle, if I don't live in this type of house, what will people think about me? Or maybe even a fear of not even mattering in life. Some of us sign ourselves up for so much stuff because we don't even know how much value that we have, and so we try to give ourselves so many things because we think our identity is in what we do. Isn't that true? And here's the truth that we're going to wrestle with in this whole series, guys. Our fear of missing out will eventually make us miss what matters most. Our fear of missing out will eventually make us miss what matters most. In fact, I believe that God is constantly trying to get our attention with this issue. I believe he lets us cross the boundaries. I believe he lets us step on things occasionally to go pop. I believe he lets bills stack up to a point to where we feel overwhelmed, to where he's trying to get our attention. He's trying to knock on our hearts. He's trying to tell me, Chris, wake up. You're living in fear. You're living beyond limits here, and I need to grab your attention. You're living in a way of living that's so full of stuff that you're suffocating yourself and your family. But the thing is that every time God tries to come up and get our attention, what do we usually do back? Well, some of us actually get mad at God, don't we? When he lets me live outside of my bounds, and this is just me, when he lets me live outside of my bounds financially, where it actually starts hurting, the first thing I don't do is say, oh gosh, I might need to wake up here. The first thing I do is say, God, why did you let this happen? Don't we? And it's God trying to get our attention, saying, hey, you're living past your limits. You're suffocating yourself. You need fresh air. In fact, I believe right now God is trying to get your attention, and some of us are kind of getting mad and pushing it away. And in fact, I want to show you this video of this mailman that's trying to deliver mail to a home that has a cat in it that won't let him do that. Why don't you watch this?
Cat ready to do battle. Kitty cat. How are you? You are. Coming down here.
just to be honest with you, I stretched it a little bit just to put that video in there. Okay, so, but I want to, doesn't it show us how we treat God sometimes? God is constantly trying to give us something good, and we're out of fear, pawing at him, scratching at him. Some of us even hurt the messenger that comes with the good news. And God is trying to get our attention. He's trying to give us a plan. In fact, this whole rest of this series, I'm going to give you God's plan for relationships, for finances, for schedule. I'm going to give you God's plan. But the whole time, you're going to be like that cat. If you don't deal with this heart issue, you're going to look at me and say, I can't do that about my finances, preacher, because you don't know my circumstance. And I'm going to say, well, you're living out of fear. Living out of fear. A lot of you guys know I served as a chaplain for several years for hospice. And on one hand, it was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. On the other hand, it was awful, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it, but, you know, when you walk up to someone, they already know that they're only given 6 months at the most to live. And they know that they're on the last stage of their life. So how many of you guys realize there's no small talk thing, right? There's no, hey, how's the weather doing, you know, type deal. You cut to the chase and you deal with real life matters, don't you? And they knew while I was there. This is the hospice chaplain. And I knew that they knew what situation they was in. For the people that could still talk and kind of communicate to me, we had some of the most real conversations I've ever had with people in life. There's no beating around the bush about it. Just dealing with it. And these people always wanted to talk to me about what they missed in life. It never fails. Every time in the middle of the conversation, the thing would come up about what they missed in life. You know, they never told me that they missed out on making more money. They never wanted to talk about how they missed out working more. They never wanted to talk about how they just missed out being more popular in life. The conversation would always turn to what they missed that mattered most in life. And how their lives got so full of stuff that they ended up, by fear, giving in to living like that they missed out on what mattered most. See, God loves us enough that he's like a hospice chaplain. Because whether you and I realize it or not, we're all going to die. And I know that's a sobering thought. But the Bible tells us that to be wise is to know and count your days. Realize that we're like this withering grass. And that we really just don't have all the time in the world to deal with things. We really just don't. And how one bad season can lead right into another bad season and another bad season that can turn into years and into decades, and then we can end up on a bed like some of those patients that say, oh chaplain, I wish I had more time to give myself to what mattered most. Because I miss it. And God loves us enough that he deals with these things. This fear versus faith. You're going to live in fear or by faith. You see, God loved his people enough that he intentionally built fresh air, space into their lives by the laws that he gave. I know that sounds weird, but God loved us enough that he wanted to tell us how to live, because he knew, left into ourselves, that our lives would look like the back of my car does. Full of junk. And we would miss out in our souls. In fact, when God had delivered his people, his covenant people, out of Egypt and started moving them into the promised land, he revealed himself to them on a mountaintop. And he says, look guys, you had spent your lives, every part of their life that they had known up to this point was slavery. I mean, through all those, but I want to look at one in particular because it's one that's actually just crazy that God would actually say. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. He says, so, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. So what's God doing? He's saying, I'm the Lord God who brought you out of slavery, who loves you. And one of my first commands that I'm going to give you is that I want us, thou us, to take us a day of office. Now, who would not want to serve a God like that, right? We don't understand that because, most of us have maybe 2 days off or a day off. We have that reality in our lives. But these are people who had never experienced that before. They had never had a day off. They had never had a day where they didn't have to do anything. And God tells them, I'm commanding you, because I love you, to take a day off so that you can, do it with me, breathe. And I could imagine these people, because they had generations of not living like this, the pushback that they started giving God. If I could just be there, the thoughts that were running through their head, they probably would have said, but God, if I take a day off, you don't understand, I have to do such and such. This is a generation, look, guys, they didn't have refrigeration back then. If they didn't go out and pluck the grain, sometimes it meant that they didn't eat. You know what I'm talking about? And they would say, but God, if we take a day off, we may not eat. But God, I need to. But God, it has to be done today. But God, but God, but God. And God is saying, take us a day off. And trust Him. And trust Him. So the next few weeks, we're going to look at a loving God that would give us rules. Not because He wants to enslave us, but because He loves us and wants us to be able to breathe. Because in the space that's created when you trust God, you will find fresh air. Isn't that true? When you start obeying God, trusting Him, you will find fresh air in your life. And here's the great truth that God is saying. I'll give you the scripture of this later on in the series, but I want you to grab hold of this promise. This is what God is saying. It's phenomenal. It's incredible. He is telling us, this is His promise, if we intentionally don't do all that we can do, God will multiply what we did do. Thinking about that? If you intentionally don't spend every bit of money that you can spend, God will bless what you did spend. I know it's kind of confusing. Just grab hold of that. If you intentionally don't go out and date everybody that you can date, God will send the right person. Follow me? If you intentionally don't sign up for every little event for your children, God will bless the ones that you do sign up to mean something. Isn't that true? If we don't do all that we could do, you could, God will bless what you did do. Jesus says this, like this, Matthew chapter 6, deals with a heart issue. Thousands of years later, Jesus deals with the same issue. And I'm going, look, you've already seen it, but I'm going to read this verse. And you're going to get mad. You're going to get mad when I read this. Because I want you to think of it in the context of your life. I mean, you got bills stacking up. The kids have to be in 10 places all at the same time. Situations are falling apart. Your husband might have left you. Your wife might have left you. You're looking for stability in your life. You're looking for the right things. And here comes Jesus. Therefore, I tell you, wait, don't go. Back up. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life. Now, I don't know if maybe you guys don't have a relationship like me and my wife does. Because I imagine some of y'all would have started saying, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Because here's what happens in my house, okay? My wife, she's a realist. She's like, this thing has to be done, and this thing has to be done. And sometimes I make the mistake of going home and showing my wife the calendar, and it's like, all this stuff has to be done. And then she's just like, like that. Not in a bad way. way, so I'm not picking on her. But then here I come along in my supportive role, and I pat her on the back, and I say, oh, honey, don't worry. It'll work out. Now, she doesn't have like, oh, yes, what great truth that was. Everything will be okay. That's not what she does. She looks at me like she's looking at me right now, and she cuts the eye at me and says, that's easy for you to say. You know what I'm talking about? And here comes Jesus. He's showing up in your life, and you're like, huh, everything's falling apart. I got stuff everywhere. Things popped in the middle of my sermon. The computer wouldn't work. And Jesus is saying, don't worry. Don't worry. Right? What do? You get mad, don't you? Like, do you understand what's going on in my life? And Jesus is like, he kind of insults us a little bit by what he says next. Yeah, your life. You know, what you eat, what you drink, what your body, what you wear. Yes, that type of life. Jesus, are you kidding me? That stuff. Yeah, that stuff. Don't worry about that. Because this is what he says. Isn't life more than food and the body more than clothes? You're looking at your bill and saying, yeah, but when I call up the bill collector, they're not going to go for that one, Jesus. Can I be honest? But he asks a valid question, doesn't he? Isn't life more than living to please other people, spending everything you can make to keep up with the Joneses? And by the way, who's the Joneses? And why would you ever want to keep up with them? Isn't it a little bit more than that, than finding some guy that maybe can love you and then leave you and hurt you again? Isn't life a little bit more than that? Isn't life a little bit more than that? He goes on in verse 32, and he says, for the pagans run after these things. The pagans run. Okay, wait a minute. You lost me now. Pagans. Let's say, here's the thing. Pagans are not people who don't believe in God. Pagans are people who believe in the wrong God. They don't have a right understanding of God. What Jesus tells us is that the reason your life is living out of bounds is because you don't trust that God loves you enough to give you these things. Isn't that true? Pagans run their lives out of bounds. Pagans run their lives so much to where they can't breathe anymore. Pagans run after these things. And look what he says. Your heavenly Father knows that you need them. Look at the contradiction he gives there. Pagan God and a heavenly Father. Pagan God that wants to enslave me. I don't know if he'll actually come through for me. I don't know if I better do all I can because I'm not quite sure he's going to give me what I need. Or heavenly what? Father loves you. Let me ask you a question. What would your life look like if you knew that your Father knows? What would your life look like if you really knew that your Father knows? I mean, stop for a second. I mean, don't run off. Please don't think about lunch yet. You haven't listened up to me until this point. to me, all who are weary and heavy burdened, suffocating, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest. Say fresh air for your souls. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. You ever looked at that verse? How many times have I said, come to Jesus and just lay all your burdens down? I mean, I've even said that here recently, to be honest. Do you find that in that verse? Do you find the offer for rest just come and clean your life up? Do you find the offer of rest just to come and make just a little bit of improvement, you know, and just pay my bill? God, if you'll just pay my bill, it'll all work out from there. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I'm just reality of the situation. God, if you'll just get me through this week, if I just lay this issue down and everything will be okay. That's not the offer for fresh air. What's the offer? Take my... Wait a minute. I want you to take something off of me, Jesus. You want to put something on me? You mean putting something on me will give me fresh air? We don't understand yoke because we're not farming people. Well, not me anyway. I really didn't have any idea what a yoke was until several years ago. I actually saw one. Yoke is something that you put on an animal to tie it in with another one so you can do work together. You see, fresh air is not having a freedom away from God. Fresh air is being with God and living life with Him. And what Jesus is telling you, because He knows us better than ourselves, Chris, what you need is not just to clean up your car every once in a while. What you need is a new way of living. That will give you fresh air. I know you better than yourselves. It's like God back in the wilderness. I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, so let me tell you how to live your life. Let me show you the way to live. Yoke up with my plan and my promise, and then you will have fresh air. Look how He describes this yoke. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. My yoke is easy. God is not asking you to do something that you can't do. Well, preacher, I just can't live like that. That's not true. The truth is, you can't keep living the way that you are living. Because your fear of missing out will eventually make you miss what matters most. Jesus goes and says it like this in Matthew 6:33, and I'm closing. Just hold on. Matthew 6:33. Seek first His kingdom, His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Let me ask you, how are you breathing this morning? How are you breathing in your life? How's things going? You can just go to the last slide. Let me ask you a honest question. Do you have space in your life? Do you trust in God? And I know there's a ton of excuses. I'm just going to be honest with you. Everybody has excuses. So do I. Well, I just can't right now. I can't focus on that right now. I can't seek that right now because I got to do. Every one of us does. But don't wait to the end of your life. He said, you know what? I don't have time, so I wish I would have made time back then. Nobody has time